just got done turning this piece out of some steel round stock. So what this piece is going to do is it's going to turn the up and down action of the blade into a turning action. I didn't record it, but I drilled a hole through the top of this, and I also rounded off the end of this threaded rod. So when you put this piece on, it fits nicely and it spins freely. I've cut the end off. Now it's time to drill the center hole on the lathe. So there's a problem with the blade getting stuck a little bit on the locks. So while I have everything apart, I might as well just sand the blade now. So as you can see here, this nut screws in and out of this rod because it's hollowed out and threaded on the inside. So if I drill a hole through it, then I can screw in the nut a little bit more, and this will clamp down the cable on the inside. So if I loosen the nut, this little threaded rod can move, but if I tighten it, can't move at all. So now you can see here, these two pieces are attached onto the cable. You also notice there's one on this side too, and that'll prevent it from going past this piece right here, which would overstretch the spring. So what this piece does hooked on the cable is it catches on this notch right in there, and that'll rotate the wheel 180 degrees, and every time the wheel is rotated 180 degrees, it moves the slide forward or backward, which will exert enough force to throw the blade out the front. So when I pull on the cable in the front, the blade should come out. And then when I release the cable, it goes back to its original position. You also notice that the blade had enough force to lock itself in place. So when I release the cable, the spring takes it back to its original position where there's another notch, and then when I pull it again, it rotates it another 180 degrees, which should throw the blade back in. And that had enough force to lock it in place. So since there's no means of me being able to actually pull the cable, now I need to make a ring so that it can do that. So the reason I cut some extra notches into the wheel is because when I pull the string, the blade comes out, but then as I let go of the string, the wheel, so when I pulled the string forward, the wheel is supposed to stop where it is so that it can return, but as it returns, it turns the wheel with it, and by the time this gets back to turn the wheel again, it can't notch on. So what I need to do, since it needs to be in this position right here, so that it can pull the blade back in, since it needs to be in that position, I need to somehow make a winch system so that the wheel stays where it is. And that's why I've cut these extra notches, is so that I can make a little spring-loaded lever right here that'll hook onto the notch and keep it in place. So finally this thing is working. So if I put it on my wrist, put the ring on my thumb, and pull, the blade comes in. So at the end of the project, I wanted to up the aesthetic by adding a brass skull, but this ended up not working because I failed to drill air holes into the mold. Not only was this dangerous, but it completely ruined the casting. Alright, so that's pretty much the finished product. Overall, this project took me about 5 months to make. Huge project, but I also had school work and regular work and all sorts of stuff going on at the same time, so that's a big reason why it took me so long. But I worked consistently on it, and obviously all the video footage that you saw in all the parts was not nearly the amount of work I put into it. I had to do parts over 2-3 times. Just took me a long time, and I'm really happy to finally get this done so I can move on to some funner projects like knife making that don't run into so many issues as I'm making them. So anyway, thanks for sticking around to the end, and hopefully I'll get a testing video out here pretty soon.